I wasn't planning on raising this question, but since it came up from Senator Blumenthal, I just got back from a week of Marine Corps Reserve training. It's great to serve with such fine men and women. But this notion of extremism in the military, which is thrown about as if we know numbers, Senator Blumenthal, 10%, I think that's irresponsible. I've asked from the military data. I want data before we besmirch the entire military. The undersecretary nominee came before this hearing, said he was going to, quote, stamp out systemic racism within the ranks of the military. I asked him, have you ever served in the ranks? No. Sir, we need to be careful with this. I'm just going to ask you two generals, served your whole career, do you think that we have this giant group of extremists in the military? I think it's one of the most best group of Americans who aren't racists. You got knuckleheads in every organization in the world, including the Congress of the United States, by the way. But there's this narrative now that we got all these extremists in the military. I think it's ridiculous, and we need to see data before we start throwing out issues like 10%. How the hell does he know it's 10%? What do you think, gentlemen? You think you serve in a military with a bunch of extremists?
Senator, I concur with you. I don't see a giant portion of the population.
Really makes me mad. The Washington Post, U.S. senators, besmirching the whole damn force. Irresponsibly. General, what's your experience? We have bad people, of course, idiots in any organization. But this is getting ridiculous when a U.S. senator is saying 10%. Where the hell did he get that number? 1 in 10? Is that your experience, General?
Senator, let me be perfectly clear. I think we have the finest military our world has known.
Me too, I believe that. And I serve with them. I just got done serving with them.
And sir, I appreciate that. We have the best America has to offer. There is no question in my mind after 38 years of service. I believe that in my heart. I know it to be true. A very small, and
10%? You think it's 10%?
Senator, I don't think it's 10%.
Not even close, is it?
Matter of fact, I don't think there's been any data on the topic. I can just tell you from experience, it's extremely small. And even though it's extremely small, and it may be less than 1%, I don't want to be dismissive of potential degradation in the ranks. But it should not characterize the joint force.
Do you think it's
an enormously powerful and professional joint force?
Thank you, General. Do you think it's 10%, General? Anything in your experience in your 30, 40 plus years as a general officer in the military?
Senator, I certainly agree that number's too high.
Yeah, so here's what I think the Secretary of Defense needs to do. Enough of this. We need data. We need data, okay? In besmirching the whole damn force, reserve or active duty, whether it's a U.S. Senator, the Washington Post, which writes a story on this once a day, with no data, or the Undersecretary who wants to be Undersecretary, I hope he's not going to be Undersecretary, for the Pentagon, we need to start using data and not this BS that's shameful, because I don't even think it's close to 10%. And you know what we're going to do? This is going to make people not want to join the military. So anyways, I was not going to even go on this topic, but when I hear a U.S. Senator throw out 10%, it's ridiculous. Ridiculous. Really pissing me off. Sorry, Mr. Chairman, I've had enough of this. General, can I talk about the Russian Arctic buildup and what we need to be doing about it? You know, we have this strange seams of COCOMs. The actions in the Arctic, which is kind of EUCOM, but PACOM owns a lot of the forces. STRATCOM has a big responsibility in the Arctic as well with missile defense. What's happening there? It's even more than it's happened recently. And what should we be doing about it and how to think about it?
Senator, I think the campaign momentum is traversing in the correct direction with your great work over the course of the last several years. All of the services, U.S. DOD, and the NATO military strategy and the NATO concept for deterrence and defense of the Euro-Atlantic. specifically points to the fact that we must have an Arctic strategy. And nations, militaries are constructing strategies that must include considerations for activities in the Arctic. So the focus in the architecture improving, the resources are growing. As you well know through your initiatives, we were able to house P-8s and F-35s at Keflavik for the first time. And most of what they did was contribute to INW in the vicinity of the Arctic. Getting the NATO nations, not just the ones that are abut the Arctic, but all involved in the process is occurring through the good work of the Secretary General. So I believe that our campaign momentum is going in the correct direction from strategy all the way down to requirements.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.